Hi everyone, we are here at the Nashville Zoo where we have some special guests talking about the total solar eclipse. Can you introduce yourself for us?
Hi, I'm Paul Cox. I'm from Slooh.com. I'm their chief astronomer.
And what are you guys doing here today?
We are on our road trip from Connecticut to our totality site in Stanley, Idaho. And because we like to kind of talk about everything about the eclipse, we thought Nashville Zoo and their huge observing campaign about animal behavior on the day was going to be a great opportunity to talk about that today.
Yeah, and we're here also with Jim Bartoo.
Yes, Jim with the zoo. We have a great event coming up on that day, so if you're looking for a place to see totality, the zoo has lots of open spaces that you can look at, and it's a 3-hour window that we're talking about for this eclipse. It starts at about noon, it ends at about 3 o'clock. Totality's right in the middle, and totality here in this part of the city is about 1.5 minutes. So during that time leading up and during that time after, it's going to get darker and it's going to get lighter. How do the animals react to that light level? We honestly don't know. We have theories, but we just simply don't know, and we're asking all of you to come on out and help us discover that.
Definitely going to be a sight to see. I do want to let everyone know that they are handing out free total solar eclipse glasses. So if you come to the zoo, let me back up, I can show you exactly what it looks like. With Slooh, you can come over here, you can talk to some experts, get some total solar eclipse glasses, make sure you are viewing the eclipse safe. And with that, do you guys want to just start going into the zoo?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
That's right.
All right, y'all, we're making our way into the zoo. Now, can you talk, either one of you, about the theories so far of what, might happen?
Yeah, there's a lot of different theories. Our keepers are kind of in debate over it. Some of them are saying they're not going to react at all. Others are saying they're going to be confused. They're going to think that it's evening approaching, so they're going to go into evening rituals. That could be nesting or roosting or stopping, pacing, starting to eat, stopping to eat, going to sleep. Here at the zoo, a lot of them go inside at night. They go into buildings at night, so they may start staging into areas where they're getting ready to go inside because they think, even though it's the middle of the afternoon, it's actually time for them to go inside. So we may see that as well. Other keepers are saying that animals will react to this thinking that it's a storm coming in, because the light that you see is kind of an eerie light. So animals will react to take shelter because they believe that there might be an impending storm. So a lot of those things might happen, and we're just asking guests to come out and observe and then send that to us so we can collect it and provide it for scientists and they can interpret it how they like.
Very cool.
I've had some personal experience. I've been really fortunate in seeing 4 total solar eclipses now. Australia, the Faroe Islands, Kenya was the best one, and Indonesia. And a lot of the things that you're saying, I mean, I've witnessed firsthand, and probably the most noticeable behavior, only because in all of those places there have always been birds around, is the birds have always started to roost and they go quiet. There's obviously not a single bird in the sky. The other thing though, a lot of the daytime insects, most of the bees and flies, those just disappear. But in Kenya we saw mosquitoes coming out just around that time.
What about like fireflies and things that normally activate right around evening time?
They started chirping up, and it was almost immediate, at that moment of totality. Now, some of those moments of totality that I've witnessed have been 12 seconds in Kenya. That's what makes this eclipse special, and what you're doing here. You're crowdsourcing this scientific animal behavior.
Right, yeah.
I mean, so you've got people probably standing at every single animal cage, haven't you? Watching, taking notes. Now, hopefully the people themselves won't interrupt that behavior, but who's going to be watching the people and their reaction to this? Because what I've seen is people are transfixed by totality. I've always classed it as the most profound emotional experience I've ever had. But we should turn around because we need to see these guys. Look at them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is a really good example of some of the animals that might react. These are hyacinth macaws. They're the largest in the macaw family. They're found in South America. And these guys at night actually climb on a little roost to keep keepers bring out, and they're brought inside. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens to them when it starts to get dark. They're usually not out at night, so it'll be interesting to see how they react. Are they going to start calling? Are they going to get really silent? Are they going to group together and look out for dangers that might be lurking in the dark? We just simply don't know.
And this is the thing, it's, their circadian biology is telling them what's happening in that 24-hour cycle.
Right.
But some of the more intelligent animals, which I think you consider these being slightly more intelligent,
Sure, yeah.
I wonder if they can actually perceive time and think, hold on a sec, we only kind of got up a few hours ago, didn't we?
Yeah, it shouldn't be night yet.
So,
yeah.
but they're going to be seeing that darkness, but presumably the keepers aren't going to be coming with their normal routes.
No, we won't take them off exhibit for the nighttime stuff.
It is going to be fascinating.
It's going to be tremendous.
It really is.
So guests here can literally stand in this spot where I'm standing. They can see the total solar eclipse above, and then they can also observe what's happening with all the animals.
Right, yeah, you may need to move around a little bit because there are a lot of trees in this particular area, but if you're concerned about seeing the totality and you want to observe animals, you can always stop observing at about 1:15, maybe 1:10, and make your way to our festival field, which is a huge open air area, and there's plenty of room to see the eclipse up there. There's also several areas around the zoo where you can get a clear sky view of the sun. You don't need a lot, right? You just need the area where the sun's going to be. So you don't need a big open sky. I have a question for you. You guys are going to Idaho, did you say?
Yeah.
Why Stanley, Idaho?
We wanted, obviously, to be in the path of totality, but we looked at, this is 3 years ago, researching weather data. We've got the best chance of cloudless skies.
Right.
I was actually going to say something very related to that, because you're quite lucky doing what you're doing. In most places, if you're unfortunate enough to have clouds, there's nothing to do. If you're in the path of totality, it will go pitch black at totality. But you're still going to be able to do all of that work because you've got darkness. That's what they're reacting to.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling my team.
Yeah, they're not looking at the sun. And this is something that I read about animal behavior for giraffes. They don't actually, we think maybe that they don't even perceive the sun because they have no predator that comes from above, so they never actually look up.
They don't. They never actually look up because there's never anything that comes from above, so they never think about looking up. But you're right, the zoo's event is kind of cloud-proof for that event that day. I know a lot of people are going to try to get to clear sky areas. If it's cloudy in Nashville, the weather people may not be able to easily predict where it's going to be clear around the Middle Tennessee area. We're stuck. We can't move the zoo into an area, so we're stuck here. I'm stuck here. But if it's
still with some really
cloudy,
exciting
it's
stuff
still
to
going
do.
to get dark.
And you have another element. With the animals here, it's an element where you can't really get anywhere else.
Right. Yep.
So what are the other animals that some of your keepers are kind of saying, yeah, we reckon these guys are going to have a bit of a freaky time?
Come on, I'll show you some more.
Awesome, So for guests coming here on August 21st, do they need to come prepared with eclipse glasses, or will eclipse glasses be handed out?
We are giving away 8,000 glasses. There'll be 5,000 given away at our gate for the first 5,000 people through the gate. And then Coca-Cola will be here up on our festival field. They'll have a tent up there, and they're giving away an additional 3,000 glasses.
Okay.
So if you're coming out that day, I can't tell you or encourage you enough to get out as early as you can. We open at 9 a.m. You don't need to buy tickets in advance. We'll have tickets for sale all day that day, but we are expecting a lot of people. So if you do want to come out, make sure you come out early so you can get parked and get into the zoo and do the things that you want to do. If you're familiar with our extravaganza day, the day that we do the big egg hunt, the day before Easter, that is also a very big day. It's going to be very similar to that. So we're expecting a lot of people out of the zoo.
So plan for crowds, people, and plan for a lot of traffic. Can you kind of talk about the traffic that you've seen during the Path of Totality?
Well, I've been reading up quite a lot about some studies done on geographical information systems, and what the data is showing or suggesting is that this is going to be the largest single day mass migration of people ever, probably in the world, let alone the USA. But that's what really is making this eclipse so special. You know, I've done a few eclipses where part of totality has only made landfall on a couple of tiny islands near Iceland. This has got, you know, it's touching down in the Pacific Ocean, but very, very quickly then makes landfall. And then it's crossing one of the most populous areas in the entire world. It is going to be the most watched celestial event ever. It really is.
Yeah, it's quite a swath. If you have pulled up maps of it before, it starts in the northwest corner of the country and it ends in South Carolina. So it makes a diagonal line all the way through the country. And if you look at the maps, all of the country is going to see some kind of eclipse. It's just that thin 7-mile path are the people that are in totality. Everybody outside of that will see a partial eclipse, but they'll still see significant light change throughout the country. And if they're not here in town or they decide not to come into town, you can still do animal observations and make those as it starts to get darker and see if there's any changes in that. Any kind of information that we can gather to provide to the public is going to be helpful.
Now, I'm actually wondering over there.
Yeah,
I'm actually wondering a little bit about my dog at home, because I know before a storm comes, you know, she always knows before anyone else. Once we start to hear her panting a little bit, we're like, oh, it's about to rain. Do you guys predict that that same type of thing is going to happen, or not as much?
Well, I've read that domestic animals react far less to this. But what are your experts saying, Jim?
What I'm understanding is if you have an animal that tends to react to oncoming storms, if you have a dog that gets nervous and starts to shake, you might see that during the eclipse. If you have an animal that doesn't tend to react towards thunderstorms and incoming storms, chances are you're probably not going to see reaction out of those animals at all. But so if you have an animal that likes that, I would just watch for it. And if you're going to be out of the house or away, just put that thunder shirt on them or whatever it is, a kratom or whatever it is that you do that makes them comfortable. They're not going to miss the eclipse.
That's what we do.
So you don't need to feel like you have to take them out to see the eclipse, because they're, I don't think they care. Yeah.
The passing word on domestic pets is, in the articles that I was reading, it said, and cats are just going to be cats.
And we all know how cats are.
Cats will probably sleep through it. Yeah,
I want to go back on one thing that you were saying there, Jim, about the whole country being under the partial eclipse, which is quite true. You know, we've got this 70-mile wide path of totality crossing the country. And what I've been trying to say to everybody that I'm meeting at the moment, the two events, a partial solar eclipse and a total solar eclipse, there is no measure that you can compare those two things. They are totally different things. If you've got friends who only see a partial solar eclipse and you talk about your total solar eclipse experience, they will not get it. They will look at you as if you're mad, because they'll think, what was the fuss? They've got to keep their glasses on all the time.
Yep.
But that moment of totality is the thing that brings grown men like me to their knees in tears. And it has, I'm on film doing that on 3 eclipses, I think.
That's fantastic.
But, everybody, I mean, Nashville, it's the largest city, isn't it, in the path of totality.
It is, yeah.
With the events that you guys have got here, if I was within a 200-mile radius of here, I think this is where I'd be coming, because you're also saying that you're cloud-proof, because you've got these activities to look at. So what do we got over here? And what are we expecting these guys to do?
These are white-cheeked gibbons. So this is one of our, we have a few primate species on property. We have a couple of gibbon species. These are white-cheeked gibbons. And we have a few on this island, a male and a female, and we have a young baby as well, or a juvenile that's growing up, and they're kind of swinging around on the island.
I see one right up there.
Yeah, and that's actually, let me see what you're looking at. That might be Siamang. Yeah, that's a Siamang over on the other island.
Okay.
And that's a larger gibbon species that's over there.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, these animals, if we're going to see reactions out of them, they may start heading over to their indoor enclosure, because that's where they go when the weather gets bad, and that's where they go when the day is done. So they may start heading that way for cover. We just don't really know.
How about the noise? Do you get a lot of, are there animals that usually start barking? I don't know what you call it for these guys, but do they start barking normally at twilight and things like that?
Well, the gibbon, the Siamang, will call throughout the day, and they kind of do this song that lasts 4 or 5 minutes, and you can hear it all over the park. Whether they do that at night or not, I think remains to be seen. Certainly they do that early in the morning when the sun starts coming up.
That's
so we might
exactly
see
what I was going to say. Exactly. We've been talking so far about animal behavior at sunset, at dusk, but we're going to get only 2 minutes later. I think in parts of the city, actually, you've got 1 minute 59 seconds of totality.
Right.
So we're going to see dawn 2 minutes later. But these are some of the things that human beings can watch out for as well.
Right.
Instead of seeing a normal sunset, during totality, if you look around the horizon, the entire horizon is cast in an orange sunset sunrise glow. It's a simultaneous sunrise and sunset all around the area. But you need to be talking to your guests also about some of the other phenomena that they can be looking at, because we're standing here and I'm just looking down and we're seeing a bunch of shadows cast by the leaves of the tree that the gibbons are in.
Right, yeah.
On eclipse day, during the partial phases, every single one of those spots of light is going to be a perfect crescent sun. And the further you get into the eclipse, the sharper and sharper that becomes defined. That's one of the magical things to look out for in the build-up to totality. And this is the thing, you need to look out for all of these phenomena that the actual eclipse is giving, and the animal behavior. I mean, frankly, anybody who's here, they're going to need 8 pairs of hands probably.
It's going to be a lot
to do everything. Yeah.
And now I have a question for you, because I have heard this right as the moon leaves totality and you leave that total experience. I have heard that there's this thing called solar banding, where there's what looks like shadow snakes on the ground. Can you explain that and how that?
Well,
what that is?
once again, I mean, it's just the disruption of, you know, exactly what we're seeing. You know, at the moment, the entire sun, everything just comes down and everything's kind of indistinct. We think our shadows are quite sharp at the moment. But imagine a light that you've got at home, a big fluorescent light. What kind of shadow does that cast? Not very much one.
Right.
Then think about a spotlight. And that's what the sun's turning into all through the eclipse. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, a point source of light. That's going to create all of the shadows that are incredibly crisp. I mean, if you stand next to each other, you can just watch at, you know, in the build-up to totality, these odd things. And this is all building in your head that something's not quite right. I haven't experienced this before. The light's slightly different, the shadows are different. The noise around me, the natural environment, the animals are changing behavior.
Right.
And that's what builds up this, to me, that's what builds up the emotional experience. Because it's new. How many times as human beings, like as animals, do we ever experience something totally alien to ourselves?
I've never experienced this.
It's
going to be tremendous. And you're right about circadian rhythm. All the keepers recognize that animals have a rhythm, a circadian rhythm to them, whether it's built in, whether it's light level or the season of the year, whatever it is, they all have this rhythm to them. That rhythm is going to be interrupted in some way. There'll be a change. There'll be a decrease in temperature. There'll be a decrease in light level. There'll be a decrease in the noises that are around these animals as well.
They'll react to each other as well, I guess.
That's right, and they pick up on that stuff. You know, they're very in tune with their surroundings. They hear, they see everything.
Far more so than human beings are most of the time. Depend on it most.
Yeah, we have our phones, we have our devices, we have other people around us. We're looking at so many different things. We may not notice all the sounds we're hearing around us.
Now, we've got live views. We're streaming live views of the actual eclipse. But I heard slightly earlier that you've got some live streams of some of the animals. You've got some animal eclipse cams or something like this.
We're planning that. Yeah, we are planning 4 different cameras at the zoo. We'll have one in our red panda exhibit, our red ruffed lemur exhibit, our cougar exhibit, and then in our Africa field. And our Africa field is zebra, eland, ostrich, bontebok, springbok. So we'll have predators, we'll have prey, we'll have foragers, we'll have all different kinds of animals to kind of see, and people who are all around the world can tune into this from our webpage. Excellent. We'll have it up on our Eclipse blog post, and they can watch this as
we
it's
will probably pull it in to
the
show, because we're doing a whole segment on animal behavior.
Right.
We've also got an eclipse psychologist coming on to talk about the effects that it does have on human beings as well, and all of this is kind of interlinked, and that's what makes this, I think, far more interesting for me than any other eclipse I've covered. It's the people I'm meeting most of all, you know, because usually we've been in a tiny, tiny little place the only place that you can see eclipse, and there's 60 people there.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
but this time we'll be able to interact, we'll be able to pull in all of these streams, and we read the Nashville Zoo stuff last night, and the activities. I just thought,
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Well,
Well,
come
and
here.
in the country, at this period in our time in history, I don't think we've had the ability for people to be able to record and share information at this level. So this eclipse is going to have information everywhere across the country. Everybody's going to be reporting it. Everybody's going to be sending information out. It's going to be up on the internet for people to gather and study for years and years.
It's something that's quite important for scientists, because usually we don't get to see the sun's corona except at totality. And usually, if you're in one spot, that's only going to be a couple of minutes long. But we're going to be able to actually see the corona over the whole stretch of time. So we're going to be able to see it kind of morph its tenuous little streams along the sun's magnetic field.
Either way, this is going to be awesome. My phone is dying, so I'm going to bid everyone farewell. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and this will be posted up online, and we will have streams. I'm sure, I mean, these streams are going to be awesome. We will embed those online, and thank you guys for tuning in.